Hi, good morning everyone. So today we are going to take the demonstration of SoapUI, which is a testing tool used for the testing of the web services as well as the REST-based services. Coming to MindMajix, it has 9+ years of experience in the industry, and we have well-equipped trainers and almost like 110+ courses it has been offering in different domains, and it has trained around 450k plus number of professionals until today, and it's still delivering more number of courses in different parts of the world. So this is the introduction with respect to the MindMajix. Let's move ahead. My introduction, coming to myself, I have almost like 8 years of experience with respect to the development as well as the testing of web services and REST APIs. I am presently working for a manufacturing company based out of USA, and also have a development knowledge with respect to Oracle SoapUI, where a complete service-oriented architecture will be covered with respect to the part of development as well as the testing using the SoapUI. Let's move ahead and see what are the course curriculum we have for today. Coming to the course curriculum, we don't really require any prerequisites before taking up the SoapUI course, because I'm going to offer the basics of web services, where we will be covering the topics like what is XML, what is XSD, what are namespaces, and what are the different types of results which are available for the part of testing. And we also go through the development perspective to understand how a web service is developed, and we are going to use Oracle SoapUI and JDeveloper as an application which will be used for the development of web services. And once after we develop the services, we are going to do the manual testing as well as we automate the testing of the web services. Once after the automation of the testing as well as the manual testing and assertions and the property transfer, these sort of topics are covered in the web services, we will try to understand what exactly a REST service is, and we will be going through the HTTP verbs of the REST-based services, and we will be developing a REST-based service using the JDeveloper and the SOA application. In the same way we did the testing for the web services, we will be also doing a manual testing as well as automation testing with respect to the REST-based services. This whole curriculum will be covered in 20 working hours, and we will be able to give the sort of interview support as well as will be able to provide the sort of preparation with respect to resume. After this particular course is also completed, we will be able to provide the relevant support and these things accordingly. Getting back to today's topics, I would like to cover as a part of this demonstration, I'll be covering what is the importance of web services testing and what all the tools are available to the development or basically for the testing of web services. How do we develop the web services in JDeveloper, and what are REST APIs and what are the HTTP verbs which are available in this, and what is the difference between a REST and web services. After that, we are going to discuss about the opportunities that are existing in the development and testing of the REST and web services perspective. So let's start with the first topic to understand what is the importance of web service testing. Before we go ahead and understand the web service testing, I would like to just give a brief introduction of what a web service is meant to be. Coming to the web services, I would like to underline a word called services in the web services, like two-letter word of web services. I would like to underline the word called services. Here, service is something which is available or which is provided over the network. It might be any data, any sort of execution of the data over the network. For example, I want to know what is the time difference between the two different time zones like EST and IST. We use Google, but the data conversion and these services will be available at the back end, which are converting the time from EST time zone to GMT time zone or as such. We can also consider climate-related updates as a service over the network. We can also consider the stock market codes as well as the part of traffic updates, the part of history related to a location or the culture with respect to a location. The data available over the network can be considered as a service. Anything we are going to get the service over the network can be considered as a service. So what exactly is a web service? To connect over the network, our previous teams who have worked on these particular communication over the network have done a lot of research and came out with one language called XML, which is a very lightweight and easily it will be able to transport the data from the source to the target systems. So using this particular language, they have built the values which needs to be passed on over the network and where we communicate over the network and how do we train that WSDL files which are generated whenever we create the web services. So every sort of step-by-step improvement has been come in a very much traditional way to make the communication possible over the network. In earlier days, if I have to communicate over the network, then it was something like taking time with respect to the server, with respect to the performance of the details and assets. But today's world, things have increased, like the things have modernized and they have started improving much better on the infrastructure front where they are using the cloud related services and trying to provide the best services. And everything that is available today, if I wanted to open a bank account or want to apply for a personal loan or wanted to book a car, people are using websites to book a car so that the car can come to our home delivery. So that's how the things have increased. But at the same time, the testing holds a very important role or plays a very important role in today's world because of the part of security and performance which will make our number of users. For example, we have created a web service or a website which has huge number of users, but the performance is too slow, like delay in the services or loading of those pages and these things is very slow. Then people will stop using and will try to go for the other services. So we do have other applications like WhatsApp which are used for instant messaging services, but they do fail because the part of service, the part of ease and the look wise, those things are much better when compared to other services. In the same way, to survive in the competitive world, the web service creation is not only the part, it has to undergo the part of testing, that is functional testing, performance testing, as well as the part of security testing. And every time we take up the part of testing activity with respect to the web services, we consider each and every point to be very much important and try to test each and every part of that one so that we indirectly are going to help the business go higher, because if our testing and the performance testing or the functional testing, these things are able to find out the bugs and try to fix them, then the number of users who are using that services will be happy and they will be easily able to consume the services, and it leads to the improvement of the business for that particular web service. So it plays a very vital role as much as the development is going to play a role. Like more than that, we are going to play a very vital role on testing those web services and finding the bug. So web services, on simple note, is anything that is consumed over the network is considered as a web service. And testing holds very prominent role because the performance, the loading of the pages, the response time, and the part of security and the part of accuracy in the data are going to be very play a very prominent role. For example, you are creating a website which gives the daily stock quotes with respect to the stock market, then we don't give appropriate data or our response time is too much delayed, then it will affect the users. Because the person who is requesting the stock at certain price will see that his purchase of the stock will be at a higher price when compared to the price which he viewed on the service. So these type of real-time web services are going to give a very prominent effect to the customer on each and every basis. And if we are giving a climate-related information and we have opted a service provider who doesn't give much appropriate information with respect to climate, then definitely the web service part is. So what are we going to test? We are going to test with respect to the climate information, how appropriate the information is, how appropriate data is. In case if the number of users are increasing, is the response time increasing or decreasing? If I put a load on the particular web service, is it able to sustain? Is it able to secure the data and provide the data very securely, or is that particular web service can be easily hacked? Or these things can be tested for all the real-time and non-real-time web services also. Here, real-time is nothing but any quick responses, like we take stock market updates. Every second it has to update the fresh data or the fresh price of that particular stock. So that plays a very prominent role for the stock investors who are investing into the market. So this is how we understood importance or prominence of web services. Let's get into another topic what are the tools available for doing the testing. Coming to the tools available for testing, we have so many tools which are available in the market for testing the functionality of the particular web services and REST bases. Often we can automate in some of the testing tools also. Like Postman is mostly used for REST API testing. Testing with REST, SoapUI, Strong Test Builder, and various other tools which are presented over the screen will be helpful. Often SoapUI is also going to play a very prominent role because it is capable enough of doing the complete functional testing, and we also have two versions of it, which is one is free version and the other one is licensed version. In the licensed version, we will be able to find few of the options which will enhance our testing part on the part of performance as well as the part of security. However, we can also do the complete end-to-end testing like functional performance as well as load testing as well as the security-based testing using a normal open source SoapUI also. Let's go to another topic. Before going to another topic, I would like to develop one of the web service in JDeveloper and show you how easy developing a service and trying to load it in SoapUI. Let's go ahead and try to create one service. So let's go to File. This is a JDeveloper tool which is used for developing the particular web services and REST-based services. The reason why we selected this particular tool or an application to develop web services or REST-based services is because it is something where we can develop the web services or REST-based services within small time, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, we'll be able to create a web service. So in detail, the more explanation with respect to this particular tool installation and all this will be said during the training part. As this is just a demonstration, we'll be just creating one small sample project so that we can feel the ease of creating a web service. So I go to project, I select the SoapUI project, click on OK. I would like to state it as SoapUI sample, where I would like to just take some details from my user and try to give a welcome message to my user. So I'll take it as an empty composite. Just click on finish. So here I'll take the name of the person and I will try to revert back with some details saying that thanks for opting this like welcome to SoapUI world and such. So I'll drag and drop the Bipel process. It will be explained during the part of training on what exactly a Bipel process and these are meant to be. As it is a short demo, we'll be going through on a very rough note on how do we create. However, during our part of testing, we will first explore what is their developer, how do we create the web services, what is XSD meant to be, what WSDL is meant to be, and all these details will be going in. Coming to the Bipel process, I'll create a Bipel process. I'll select the web service. I'll state it as the synchronous Bipel process. I'd like to expose as a SOAP service. Just click on it. It will create a web service, which in turn, whenever deployed, will give a WSDL file. And this file which is generated is a abstract WSDL. Abstract WSDL is something which will not have binding and address, complete address. It's just going to have the types, messages, port type, and as such. So let's get into the Bipel process and try to give the response. So let me just assign the response to my user stating that welcome to SoapUI or testing world. I'd like to see these functions will be explained inside. Welcome web services testing using SoapUI. We'll try to give the name of the person and we'll use the part of variable which our user is trying to give. Okay, let me change the expression one more time. Welcome to SoapUI testing, Mr. And we'll give the name of the user who's keying in the data. I'd like to close this and let deploy the integration. Click on apply, click on OK. It is so simple. I'm taking the data or the name of the person and just giving a welcome statement to my user. And it almost like took less than 2 minutes of time to develop this particular web service. So all we need to do is just give a right click and deploy the integration where we will be able to get the final WSDL file. So overwrite if any existing, click on next, click on next, click on next, click on finish. It will deploy the integration. Those logs will be available here on what is the status of the deployment and what is the time it took to deploy the integration and as such. Once after the integration is being deployed, we will be able to see the deployed integration in this TM console, where we will be going through this particular service in the SoapUI infra. Click on SoapUI infrastructure. So it took almost like 32 seconds to deploy the integration. And let me go here to get the complete web service which is being generated. Here is the SoapUI sample file. Just click on that. Go for the deployment and click on this, and here is the endpoint URL or the WSDL file which is generated and used for testing purpose. So we can do the unit testing, and whenever we see the complete WSDL in the browser, we will be able to see the complete abstract as well as complete WSDL, where we will be able to view the binding as well as the complete address. The basics will be completed during our training session, where we will just try to load this integration in the SoapUI. This is the SoapUI. which is used as a testing tool for web services and REST APIs. We already have one of the session which was going on. This is a part of it where we have developed a calculator application. We have automated part of testing. We have created the properties and we have created few of the assertions which will validate a few things like the response time contains, does not contains, and as such. The validation of these tests will be viewed over here, and all the assertions which are pasted here or validated have been is true. So we will be doing it during our part of practical training. So let's load this particular integration which we have developed right now. Go to File, click on New Soap Project. I'll save it as SoapUI demo, and I'll paste the physical file over here. And in case of testing, we need to create a test suite also. We can manually create it. Otherwise, we do have an checkbox where we can just mark this checkbox so that we will be able to see the test suite automatically created, where we can create assertions whether it contains, does not contains, any sort of personal information is available in that. That sort of different assertion testings are available through which we will understand how functionally better it is performing, how it is performing based upon the load that we are going to place with number of requests, and how secure the particular services. These type of different testings are available through which we can automate as well as test using the SoapUI. So I just wanted to do a very small sample testing. I'll just open the SoapUI, take the request, and this is the input. I'll state it as Sam and just welcome to SoapUI testing, Mr. Sam is the message that we have received in turn as a response. So any web service that we develop, whenever we key in some XML payload, or payload here is nothing but the complete envelope of the soap body, and whatever the response we receive is something like in turn the response part which we are going to receive here. We can create the test suites and start doing the assertions for it. We can select we want one test case to be created and as such. In that test suite, we will name it as sample test suite. Just click on OK. And we are going to see the test step called process, which is available here. Inside this, we will be able to do the different types of assertion, like if it's a valid soap fault or not, and if it's going to contain the values which we need to check or not. All that which are disabled are not applicable to web service. They will be applicable to the REST-based service and asset. So we do have XPath maps and various other options which are available, which we will be going through during the course window. So let's continue and get back to our presentation and see what's our next topic. Coming to our next topic, I see that things have modernized, and web services is, I would say that it's a traditional way of testing and mostly used for desktop-based applications. But today's modern world, desktop usage has decreased like anything, and the usage of mobiles and tablets have increased. So whenever we expect our integration to be very fast and no delay, then if we are using a web services, again I have to increase my infrastructure. So what I'm just trying to convey over here is, based upon the load or the number of requests I'm going to get it from our users or the business that I expect, I need to build infrastructure for a web service so that load can be accommodated by the infrastructure also. Here infrastructure is nothing but the servers, the RAM size, the various other servers and assets which will come into picture when we take web service into consideration. But if we see mobile usage, we have trillions of users, quadrillions of users who are using the mobile applications as well as the tablets and various other. So what they have thought is, let's make the things more faster. If I see that a mobile app which I'm opening in a mobile phone is very slow and responding very slowly, similar like when sometimes when there is a huge traffic on the web server and the response from of loading that web page and these things might be taking time. If I feel the same in my smartphone, definitely I'll stop using the particular mobile application or the mobile phone. So they have to accommodate the request, which is a very lightweight, like REST-based services are very lightweight, which are easy to understand and easy to develop, people started using them for mobile application as the cloud as well as the cloud-based application. And they have come out with a very small sort of rules and regulations instead of going through the complete traditional way. They have come out with very few options like they have methods like post, get, put and delete, which are in comparison to the SQL language or SQL query language. Those are similar like a CRUD operations. Post here is termed as a create, and get we can use more like a select statement we use to read the data, and put here is to update the data, and delete to delete the data. These are the four methods which are available in the REST APIs, which we will be doing the operation based upon the requirement. If I have to read some data, I'll use a get operation or a method. Or if I want to update some details, I'll use the put. In some cases or scenarios, we will be using the create option for posts. Like creating a new record or as such, we will be using the post option. So that's how this particular modern way of usage has come into picture, and mostly mobile as well as cloud-based applications are utilizing this REST APIs in modern world. SoapUI will also accommodate the testing and automation REST APIs also. So it's not that when I compare web services with REST services, web services are also much in use in today's world also, but we see the number of users with respect to the mobiles or smartphones or the cloud applications have increased when compared to the desktop users or the sort of normal application users. So that is the reason we will find this particular REST API is more hearing in the today's market when compared to web services. But in depth, if you get into the part of real world and just see, web services are also giving the proper or neck-to-neck competition with respect to the REST APIs, even after it becoming a new trend to work on REST APIs and create the REST APIs. Web services do have the equal competitive world in today's world also, when even though we have REST APIs which have come as a modern language. So on that note, I would just like to give some differences between the web services as well as the REST APIs. So web services only supports XML format, whereas REST APIs will support both XML as well as JSON formats. If we want response in XML format, using the REST API, it is capable enough of giving the response in the XML format and JSON format also. Here JSON is nothing but it's sort of object notation which will be just displayed in the codes. The sort of representation will be different in XML and JSON. But both like the elements as well as the values will be same. And web services generates, whenever created, generates a WSDL file, web service description file, which will have an abstract WSDL and concrete WSDL. Whereas REST APIs will generate web application description language file, and which will have like what is the HTTP verb used, like either it might be get, post, put or delete sort of options, along with what is the input it is passing and what is the response code like HTTP 200 or such. Along with that, what is the format in which the response can be given, either in JSON or XML format. So based upon that selection, those details will be available in the Paddle file. Coming to the desktop, Web services mostly used for desktop-based application, whereas REST APIs are used for mobile and cloud-based applications. And web services have operations in it, like we can use multiple operations like create, update, delete, and asset. Whereas it uses REST APIs uses HTTP verb like get, put, post, and delete. Web services, we can consider it as a traditional way of communication over the network or building the services over the network. It's a traditional way because it follows certain format like it will have types, messages, code type, it will have RPC style of building and document style of building the integrations and assets. Whereas REST API does not have that sort of huge architecture or functionality. Those are very lightweight where the response as well as the request taken will be very less time, and we do not even require a huge infrastructure to accommodate these REST APIs. That is the reason as mobile users are more in number, we are going to mostly use the REST APIs or as such. But on the simple note, both are services which will be accommodating the request and giving some response in terms of whatever the request we send to the target service. So this is how it's not basically a session where we differentiate, but it is a session where we discuss about it. But other part, mostly these two services are there. Most of the participants do ask what is the difference between each other. I have just placed the comparison. But coming to the market of SoapUI, we have good enough opportunities in the testing world when compared to other Selenium testing or QTP testing as such. So we can also equally compete on testing or automation part as well as the manual testing part using the SoapUI also. With SoapUI, I can do functional testing, performance testing, as well as the security testing of that particular web service, as well as the REST services or REST APIs. So there is a good enough market where compared to other sort of testing, and it is a very widely used tool in today's modern world for testing of the web services as well as the REST-based services. And after the course completion, the participant is going to get the course completion certificate from MindMajix. Coming to a few of the projects which are available during our part of training session is, we are going to develop a web service where we are going to take few of the registration details of the customer and try to place that in file, and based upon the availability of the particular new data in the file, we will be communicating back to the particular user or a customer who has registered himself with us, and we will be taking those particular details to sell the product or as such as per the business requirement of the customer. That sort of web services we are going to develop and test it with assertions and property transfers. Along with that, we are going to build a calculator application which will be doing the sum of two numbers or three numbers, multiplication, division, and such calculations, and will be able to give the resulting response of those numbers which are being keyed in by the user as an input. And we are also going to develop the REST APIs using the JDeveloper and do the automation testing of those REST APIs in the similar way we have done or we are going to do it for web services. And the participant who is able to grab the things, we will be able to easily automate the things. And we are going to use the Groovy script as a part of automation, and JavaScript can also be utilized if we do have knowledge in JavaScript also. We can just write the automation code which will be supported by SoapUI for automation purpose. So any language we can use, either Groovy or JavaScript, to automate the particular process of testing. And in the course time, we will be using Groovy script to automate the testing process of SoapUI application. And what do I require as a lab setup or prerequisite? I say that we are going to teach from or start from the basics. We do not require any of the prerequisite technologies to be known. We are going to give knowledge. In case if they already have the knowledge on web services, I can give it as a repetitive. It's like a refreshing session where they can have an idea, and if something which I know may not be known by them, it will be sort of refresher session for them. If they don't know, it will be something like learning from the base. And what do we require for as a system requirement? It's just a normal system configuration is more than enough for us to download the SoapUI software. It's a freeware which we are going to take, and the licensed version is also available with 14-day trial, and we are going to download the 14-day trial for the training purpose also, and also do the part of completion on the licensed version also. And please do feel free to reach us at info@mindmajix.com for any of the further queries, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks a lot.